In related news, Naphtali Bennett has now publicly admitted fault for his new right party's loss in the recent elections, but many still question why he thought it was wise to split the right-wing vote in the first place. Well, joining us now with more is Naphtali Bensimon, a journalist and a member of the Likud Party. Naphtali, thank you so much for coming back in today.
Good evening. My pleasure.
All right, so, what do you think Naphtali Bennett was hoping for? I mean, well, obviously he was hoping for a lot more Knesset seats and a lot more of the right wing to float to his base, but why do you think he held that assumption so strongly?
This is always a mistake of people who think that their personality is bigger than the brand. And the brand is the right wing that comes from the religious parties. And that's where Naphtali Bennett get his voice. His voices last time when he got 8 or 9 mandates. He thought that I'm big enough to be alone and to bring the same amount of mandates. But you know what? Nobody knew exactly what is the new brand of Naphtali Bennett besides the name Bennett.
But between him and Shaked and their history as, ministers, as Knesset members, leaders of their respective parties, why were they so wrong? Because I'm not saying, maybe he's not as big as the brand. I'm saying, how did he not even get into the Knesset? He didn't even pass the threshold.
When you go down, sometimes it's very painful when you are taking the wrong track. And you can arrive to many places, but not on the lane that you wanted to be. And this is the biggest failure of Bennett and Shaked, because they were great ministers, very popular, not only in Israel, also in the world. And they thought that everyone thought that they have a bright future, a political future. But when you are going wrong, it's all the way down. So
first of all, before maybe we come back to this, I want to know, how many times has this happened before? Because this seems to be kind of a common trend within the right-wing parties, where in previous elections, some party leader will just say, I'm gonna do my own thing, and it doesn't quite work out.
Take the biggest of the prime ministers of Israel in the history of Israel, besides Netanyahu, Ben-Gurion. He created the Rafi party, and he thought that, well, I don't need my base. I will create something new, and it collapsed. Ariel Sharon with Kadima, it was a big promise. Well, what happened to him? But it's also collapsed. Israeli politics is built on brands. Right wing, Likud, Labor, and the others it's maybe fashionable, but it not exist last.
All right, so going back then again to Naphtali Bennett and Shaked, because you're talking about branding here. Naphtali Bennett and Ayelet Shaked, they have a strong brand even now, and during the campaign, we saw Naphtali Bennett everywhere. We saw him at funerals, we saw him on the border, we saw him at commemoration events, we saw on the radio, and then with Shaked, with her the music video that they put out and their fascism scent, brand. We're talking about a big presence. So why did it backfire?
Because the presence was wrong, completely wrong. And when the presence is wrong, you start to ask yourself, what's going on here? I'm not sure this is the party that I belong to. And what they are, what is their personality, identity. They didn't have any political identity, not right, not left, not center, not religious, not secular, not what. So what are you? Who are you? So this is a mistake that people think they are more popular than the brand or the base, and now they understand very well and very painful what is the result of a very wrong campaign.
So how did this affect the coalition negotiations and the strength of the right wing, or maybe the policies of the right wing bloc going into the new 21st Knesset? How did that maybe change I think especially on the policy issue? I'd like to stick on that.
Look, this coalition of the right coalition of Netanyahu, it will be a very complicated issue. to promote some political issues. It will not be easy. You have very different wings, like Lieberman from one side and the ultra-Orthodox from the other side. They will not move for an inch, and also him and Netanyahu as the biggest magician, the political magician of the Israeli politics, will have to prove another game again that he can create a government that has some, common thoughts about how to lead this country, how to deal with difficult issues. Sure. And I'm sure that everybody will understand that even without the right wing like Bennett and others, everybody understands that don't make problems to Netanyahu, because it can be too dangerous, too fragile, and it's a very political risk for the right wing. So they will keep Netanyahu, they will keep the government, and they will say, you know what, another time we will choose again Bennett, but for now, let's keep Netanyahu.
All right, well, I think it's going to be very interesting in the next few weeks to see kind of how the different parties, because you mentioned, Litzman's United Torah Judaism, the Haredi parties, and Avigdor Lieberman's party. It's going to be very interesting to see how they leverage their powers. But
I can assure you that will be the biggest political circus in the Middle East.
It's going to be interesting. Naphtali Bensimon, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.